What is up, everyone? Welcome to Optimus Fantasy. After a little lull, getting through the Super Bowl, the early offseason, the Senior Bowl, we are back with our first Monday mock draft of the offseason, and we're hitting it up with a rookie mock draft. It's a little early. We know that, but that's okay. It's pre-draft, but it is post-Senior Bowl. We've got the combine starting this week, so we just want to kind of get a feel for what the value of these players are. I'm joined by my host through the Mock Draft Monday series, which we will be running until the end of the offseason, right up until the season starts in September. Mike Vadala. Mike, how are we doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great, Nate. I mentioned before the show that I'm not in my usual space. I'm down in the dining room today. We're painting the studio area, and all I've done while painting is listen to podcasts about this rookie class. So I know everybody's takes on all of these players, and I'm still forming my own takes, but I'm excited to get started here today.
Well, and this is the time of year. I mean, we don't know landing spots. We have a good idea with some of these guys. Like, we know Fernando Mendoza is going to the Las Vegas Raiders, and we can debate about whether that's going to work out for him or not all day. But we know that he's likely a top 5 pick, depending on format. This specific format, folks, this is a one quarterback standard PPR Dynasty rookie mock. So there's no super flex here. There's no tight end premium, nothing like that. This is very basic to get us rolling. I promise we will get weird with it as the off season goes on. I just want to remind everybody, if you're watching, please check out our Discord channel. The link is in the show description below. We're going to be talking about all these prospects all offseason to help you through your drafts, whether you're doing it before the NFL draft or after. Even if you butt those right up in August, there are some leagues that love to do it last minute. If you are one of those leagues, we will be here for you with those drafts to help you out all the way through. And make sure you like and subscribe, guys. We are going to be doing this every Monday. Plus, we have got a ton of content that is going to be coming out between the combine, the draft, OTAs, and just a lot to kind of navigate through the offseason to make sure that you're staying ready, because we stay ready so you don't have to get ready, folks. That's what we are here at Optimus. Just shaking the rust off after a break here. All right, Mike, let's go ahead and get into this draft. We're going to go ahead and fire it up. We've got Tony Perez with the first pick. We know he's hanging in the chat. Like I was saying, we know that this is going to be Fernando Mendoza. I would be shocked. Well, I guess not. We got Carnell Tate coming off the board first. Carnell Tate, I think, Mike, is someone that we've talked about as probably the best receiving prospect in this class right now.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of back and forth. Like I said, I've been listening to nothing but rookie podcasts all weekend long. I'm hearing a lot of back and forth between Tate and Lemon. And for me, they're right neck and neck. And I definitely do like taking these wide receivers, especially. I think, did you mention this is not a super flex, or is
we did mention this is not a super flex?
Okay,
yeah,
so Mendoza, that makes a little more sense to avoid the Mendoza pick there.
Right. I really still feel like he goes in the top 5. Carnell Tate, though, yeah, like we got from Cam here in the chat. He's the wide receiver 1 of this class. I don't think there's much debating that. Jeremiyah Love going off the board at 1-2. Again, top running back in this class. But here's my question about Love. Where do we sit on expectations with him versus where we were at with Ashton Jeanty last season? Because with Jeanty, I mean, we were looking at him like he could be the overall RB1, not just rookie. Obviously did not pan out because of the situation. How do we feel about Jeremiyah Love depending on landing spot here?
I think as a prospect, I am not there that Love and Jeanty are on the same level. I think Jeanty, I mean, he was drawing like LT comparisons pre-draft last year. And I think Love's a great player. I think Love can be, one of the top 10 backs in the league one day. And I even think Love could outperform Jeanty given the right landing spot. In terms of just evaluating the prospect, I'm just not seeing that like next level elite tier in any category. I think he is like probably all pro tier in just about every category I could grade him in. But Jeanty he had like a truly special season that when you see that, that's when you're okay. This guy could be one of the best ever, kind of a thing. And he didn't get the landing spot to necessarily do that. So, same thing could happen to Love though. And he would not hit that same ceiling that maybe Jeanty would.
Realistically, though, like looking at this draft order, and we've had some internal conversations about this last few weeks, where this is going to be a really skill position light first couple of rounds in the NFL draft. Jeremiyah Love's a guy who probably goes in the first round, but realistically, looking at the first 10 picks, you don't have a lot of teams outside of maybe the Tennessee Titans at 4 who would reach for a running back early. I can't see him going that early. Can you?
Not really. I mean, I just don't have him up there with a Bijan Robinson or a Ashton Genty type of player. I think he's going to be a great player too. I want to like reiterate that, but I just am not there where if I'm taking in the top 10 picks that I'm going to take a position that's maybe not necessarily like the most vital position for an NFL team. So I'm up here at the 106, and I was with you, Nate, that even in a 1 QB draft, I've got Mendoza top 5, and I'm going to definitely go Mendoza here. I'm a little surprised by the Sadiq pick there. Could be just people in mock draft having a little bit of fun. I like Sadiq in the first round for sure. But here, I'm going to take Mendoza. I know he's got a great couple of weapons that we're assuming he's going to be drafted by the Oakland Raiders. 101. They need a quarterback. So I think he's got Brock Bowers. He's got Ashton Genty. He had some other exciting receivers in that group with Trey Tucker. And, I don't know how excited you'd be about Deontay Thornton, but, they've got some guys there. They've got Bowers, they've got Genty, and they can go double dip and get a wide receiver in the second round or later in the draft if they need to. Mendoza's going to have that rushing floor that we like to see. And obviously just coming off a national championship, I'm happy to take this player here. So if you're in sleeper rookie drafts, note that Mendoza is too far down in the rankings. Please remember that and put him in your queue, which he is for me right now. Here, I'm taking him, Nate, and you're on the floor.
Well, I think something I want to talk about with Mendoza, and here I'll make my pick here. I'm going with Casey Concepcion out of Texas A&M. There are a handful of wide receivers in this draft who I really feel like are going to be immediately impactful. Concepcion's one of them, and I don't really care much about landing spot. He's such a talented receiver, full route tree guy. I think he can do pretty much whatever he wants wherever he lands. So I really like Concepcion here as we're on to the 108 in this rookie draft. With Mendoza, what I find interesting that people aren't talking about is that we now have Clint Kubiak in charge in Las Vegas. That's going to change how this offense operated. We were looking at the Pete Carroll old style, bringing in a guy like Tyler Lockett and then featuring him at times in this offense, which didn't make a whole lot of sense. We wanted to see guys like Jack Besh, Deontay Thornton, Trey Tucker get more featured, and they just simply didn't. That's going to change here. That could be very beneficial to Mendoza. He's not super mobile, but I think he's going to fit into this offense well. And when you give him a guy like Ashton Genty to start, you're setting him up for success in this Vegas offense.
Absolutely. And I just want to give 2 shout outs. Number 1 to the chat for letting me know I use the incorrect city for the now Las Vegas Raiders. Shout out number 2. You see him on the screen right now. My man, Cameron White Heat FF on Blue Sky, so kindly dropped out of this draft so I could have his spot because I didn't get into the draft in time. So shouts out to Cameron White. Go follow him on Blue Sky, White Heat FF. He's been doing a ton of great work for Optimus. You're gonna be thanking me that you checked him out.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So now we have got Boston, Johnson, Coleman, Washington off of the board here. Josh Coleman's interesting to me. Running back out of Washington, very talented. We were hoping to see him in Mobile. He didn't come out, more than likely because he just didn't need to come out. Where do you land on him with Jeremiyah Love? Are you higher? And we've got Emmett Johnson as well out of Nebraska. With these 3 guys, and then Mike Washington here going 111 is a guy that we loved in Mobile. Feels like he's a 3-down back. Out of these guys, how do you have them ranked? How they've been drafted here, or do you have them in another order?
Okay, so I definitely like Love at the top, very clear Love at the top, and Emmett Johnson right behind. So I like how that went. Coleman is a guy we talked about when we were scouting for the Senior Bowl, and I remember you guys were pretty high on him, and I didn't quite see it. I felt like he is a good runner. He reads the holes well, but didn't have much special to add to that. I didn't see a ton of great moves. I didn't see the breakaway speed or like overwhelming type of power from him either. I think he's like kind of more of a journeyman type of player who he'll play around in the NFL and get some touches, get some snaps out there. But I just see him more as like a Deonta Foreman type. And I even, if you are listening to this podcast, you probably know who Matt Waldman is. And Matt Waldman made mention when he was watching the Jonah Coleman film as well that like it looks like holes are just kind of opening up for him a lot, and that's what a lot of his bigger runs are. And this is what I saw too. When he's hitting those holes, he reads it well. He hits the right hole. He'll break off like a 15-yard run and get caught by somebody, either whether it's a defensive back or a linebacker. You want to see that run break into like a 70-yarder for a lot of these players, and like for an Emmett Johnson, for a Jeremiyah, like they are, and that's what we want to see. So I'm a little lower on Coleman. Mike Washington, haven't had a really much of a chance to watch film on Washington yet, so I don't want to take a strong take on Washington, but I remember our boy Cam White was very high on Washington at the Senior Bowl, so hoping that he can come through for Cam for sure.
I'm as high on him as Cam was coming out of Mobile. We saw him do everything that we had questions about in Mobile because there were concerns about his abilities in pass pro. Could he be an effective route runner at the NFL level? And we saw him against some better competition. And the thing that we took away from Mobile was the defenses were so good there. The amount of pressure they were getting on quarterbacks versus, elite level offensive linemen, really, if we're being honest, he was just good. He was laying out blocks. He was getting into routes quickly. His footwork was exceptional, and he wasn't really dropping the ball. Katron Allen, however, he went 2-1 here to Tony Perez. This is a guy who I feel like is going to get pigeonholed in the NFL. He's going to be an early down, short yardage guy, and there isn't much more to him. Not a pass catcher, really bad hands, not a great route runner. We were hoping to see more of him doing that stuff well. He just simply didn't do it. He can block, and he's sturdy. He runs well between the tackles. He can get outside, but that's his dimension. So getting him at 2-1, I think, is fine in these rookie drafts. We'll see where he lands. He's likely to be part of a committee, which I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a team get him and Nick Singleton as like, let's see what these guys can do. They were a good pairing in college. Singleton breaking his foot in Mobile. We're probably going to see his draft stock fall a little bit. He's unlikely to be competing in Indianapolis this week. So maybe a little bit too high on him. Jadarian Price here goes 1-3. That was an auto pick. Then we've got Jeremy Bernard out of Alabama. He goes 2-4. I'm sorry. And then Nick Singleton going 2-5 here. How do we feel about Jeremy Bernard? He had good film. I don't know. Yeah. I wanted to see him in person, and I'm going to be interested to see what he does at the combine this week. Depending on landing spot, I could see him being a guy that we're not even really talking about until the third or fourth round in rookie drafts once we get through the NFL draft. Do you feel similar?
Yeah. I mean, like, I like him as a college player that, like, he's an athlete, he's powerful, and you can kind of abuse that in college. I'm curious to see what he does in the NFL. I think he's got the athleticism, but I didn't see much in the film that told me, all right, this guy's like super nuanced or like super precise with anything he's doing out there from like a wide receiver aspect in terms of like releases and route running. And I didn't see like great hands either. I saw him just kind of getting a lot of dump offs, getting a lot of like run after the catch stuff, which is great. I mean, maybe that it might just mean that I haven't seen him do everything he can do. That's very possible. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, we're going to find that with a lot of these guys. There's stuff they're going to be able to do at the NFL level that there's no way to replicate in college. And that's something I preach with tight ends as well, because so many of these guys just don't see a lot of volume at the college level. So it's kind of a mystery as to what they're going to be in the NFL. Some of the guys, like Tanner Koziel is a guy who I'm really high on at tight end. I think he's going to be probably the top 3 or 4 guy that comes out of this class, and he might end up being the top rookie tight end this season, just with his skill set and size, if he can put on some weight. We got Malachi Fields from Notre Dame. He's a guy who's been climbing up draft boards as of late. Someone Cam and I were really impressed with in Mobile. Neither one of us had super high hopes. We were turned by C.H. Herms from FTN, who we were there with. He really got us on board with Malachi Fields, but he's a big receiver with good hands. This is what the NFL is looking for. These guys who are possession receivers, they can take up space. In the right situation, do you think he's a top 5 in this class?
I think that it's like that 5 spot is definitely a tier break. I like him above these guys that have gotten picked here for sure. Yeah, I'm probably putting him right at number 5 right now. I've got to watch some of these other guys still, but from what I've seen from Fields, he's got way more speed than it looks like he has. Like he's able to get some separation out there. He's got a beautiful slant route. He's got reliable hands. He's a tough player. He has high effort too. I think if I'm remembering correctly, I watched Notre Dame against Indiana when I was scouting him, and I mean, like every play, this guy's out there putting out an effort. He's making a couple of tough catches against a really tough opponent that they were giving Notre Dame fits a lot of the time, and he was down there just making plays after plays. And I also we liked what we saw about him from him in the Senior Bowl as well. He's kind of one of the guys that everybody's talking about now post Senior Bowl. So good for him. And I'm happy to grab him here, a big, tall receiver with some speed and from a great program with good hands. Happy to get Malachi Fields here in the mid-second.
Yeah, if you want to see more scouting on him, guys, we've got some good videos on our YouTube channel here. Check out the short stuff that Cam White has put together for us. Fantastic. Just seeing how his footwork, really good hands, running through some of those barrel and cone drills. It was really impressive. And then he showed out against really good secondaries in Mobile. And we've seen him do it during the season as well. I mean, Notre Dame was a team that was in the hunt for the college playoff. We can talk about whether or not they should have gotten in. They probably should have gotten in. Malachi Fields was a big part of that. I went Elijah Surratt. I've been getting a lot of him in drafts. I got him at 112 in 2 mock drafts last week. To see him fall to the second round here made me very happy. He's one of my favorite wide receivers in this class. I think he's being a little undervalued. Maybe it's just good. I mean, Indiana won a national championship. He ended up bailing from the Senior Bowl, so we didn't get to see him there. But this is a full route tree guy. He can do everything, and he's got great hands. My only knock on him is he's not great after the catch, but I don't know that we necessarily need that from him. Somewhere I'd like to see him go, I wouldn't mind seeing him in Las Vegas, pairing him up with Fernando Mendoza. I think that would be really good for him, and I think he slots in as a wide receiver too almost immediately. But I'm also taking him knowing he might not break out year one, and I'm okay with that. And there are a lot of these guys that aren't going to break out year one. We got our second quarterback off the board, Ty Simpson out of Alabama, going at 211. What does this tell us about this quarterback's class this year, Mike?
Don't love it. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I think there's actually players I like more than Ty Simpson. And I think Simpson's one of those players that people either are higher than consensus or lower than consensus on. I fall the lower category. I just think that he is just not really an NFL starter, and maybe not like really even the potential for it. I've watched some Alabama this year and just have not really liked what I've seen. And when we scouted Bernard for the Senior Bowl, we scouted Jam Miller for the Senior Bowl. Like, didn't see one thing from Ty Simpson that really made me excited to go grab him. I'm interested with some of these other quarterbacks whose stock has fallen. I feel like there's always opportunity, like when you can grab like a guy like Carson Beck or Drew Aller. I know they've lost all their stock this year or whatever, but like these are guys where you probably can get them after your rookie draft and pick them up and throw them at the back end of your roster, put them on your taxi squad, just see what happens. I mean, they had a lot of hype, and Beck had to go to a new program, and Aller got injured. So I would like to see, like, if these are prospects that everybody was high on 1 year ago, I'm willing to take that chance and see what they can do in the NFL, especially when we're picking them up for free. Grunt has just been sniping me the last 2 rounds, I gotta say. Grunt took Nicholas Singleton. He was my next favorite running back off the board. Even liked him over Katron Allen. And then I did kind of want to grab Michael Trigg, but he wasn't going to be my last pick here because if you've known me this year, there's one guy that I have fallen in love with, and that is my boy, Jamari Taylor. Man, I feel like he's got big, like, Kamani Vidal vibes where just like he kind of is just this like stocky guy, and he can kind of get into a situation where you think it's maybe going to be like a 4-yard run or something, and then just he's out of the hole somehow and he's taken off. He looked good. He only had 3 carries in the Senior Bowl, but one of them went for like a nice little 20-yard rip. I think he reads holes well, and he's got like better kind of like phone booth agility, like where he can kind of he looks stuck, and next thing you know, he's taking this weird angle and he's gone. And he's got like really decent power too. I'm a Jamari Taylor fan. I think he's got that Kamani Vidal like vibe to him for sure.
Well, I wanted to see more out of him in Mobile. I was hoping we'd see more out of him in Mobile, but what I saw was enough. He's a power runner, decent pass catcher, though I don't think a team's going to rely on him for more than like maybe 2 to 3 targets a game. I can't see him being heavily involved in the passing game. But that said, I think he's a guy who will contribute at the NFL level. Interesting, we had Tyler Chambliss go last. We'll talk about that here in a minute because that's an interesting situation. I went Justin Joly, tight end. Loved watching him in Mobile. But what we loved the most, and Cam and I talked about this after a couple of the practices, was we kept seeing him get these like jet sweep looks and different like backfield looks where he's kind of
Brady, please.
No, we won't.
I can't watch another tight end jet sweep, Nate. I can't do it.
I know.
I'm sure he's better than Dawson Knox, though. Oh my
God. Probably. You know, if we can get a guy like him where he gets kind of like that Harold Fannin lining up in the slot, get some different looks, put him in the backfield here and there in the right situation, Jolie could be that Harold Fannin sleeper guy that we're talking about. The problem with this draft, and I'm going to say this now, as we're going through these rookie drafts, the issue that we're going to have is that a lot of these skill position players are going to be day 3 guys, like even getting into the second round. Ty Simpson, I don't think he's a day 2 guy. I think he's a day 3 quarterback. I think that this is just such a light class on talent. Notice that Garrett Nussmeier did not go in this draft. He did not come off the board. We had Tyler Chambliss from Ole Miss come off the board first, who was just granted.
Is it Trinidad Chambliss?
Yeah, I said, yeah, Trinidad Chambliss. The thing about him is that he just was awarded 1 more year of eligibility. He has indicated that he is not going to enter the draft. He's going to play 1 more year at Ole Miss, probably try and go for that natty. They got so close. Wouldn't surprise me. He's a small school guy who came and played really, really well at Ole Miss. And I think maybe another year ups his draft stock, but I don't think we're going to see him in the NFL draft. Adam Randall, he went 3-11, converted wide receiver to running back. Don't get the idea that this guy's going to be a pass catcher in the NFL, Mike. He's not going to be. Terrible hands. His route running was atrocious. He couldn't get his footing on cuts, and it was crazy to see him continually fall over on these cut routes during drills. We've got film of it in a few places. We haven't really posted it. He's going to be a good, like, 2-down guy, short yardage guy. We did have a conversation with one of the beat reporters for the Atlanta Falcons, and he said he thought that Adam Randall was a guy that they would be looking at in a later round to pair with Bijan. The likelihood that they re-sign Tyler Algier is pretty nil. He's a guy that you hand the ball to. He runs well between the tackles. He's big, really powerful. Not a lot of yards after contact, but he can get you those 2 to 3. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. How do you feel about this draft overall? Looking at this board, we had a lot of tight ends come off here. We had 5 tight ends, only 3 quarterbacks, but this looks to be a heavy draft. And I think that's where we're going to be as we get into rookie drafts. There aren't a lot of high-end rushing assets. There aren't a lot of high-end quarterback assets. And a lot of these tight ends, I think, are going to be dart throws at the NFL level. Guys like Daniel Bellinger, Jeremy Ruckert, guys that we thought, well, there's a chance. Ben Sinnott in past years, we thought these are guys who have a chance. They're a dart throw. We taxied them. They haven't paid off. We're getting into year 3 and 4 of some of these guys. I feel like that's where we're at with some of them. However, the guys that went in the 3rd round, Michael Trigg and Justin Joly, I think are 2 sleeper guys I think could really do well.
I like Trigg, man. And it was when I was watching Josh Cameron. And all, like, they're just bombing it to Trigg all the time. It's awesome. So I'm a fan of his for sure. I think there's some guys still on the board that like Reggie Virgil, undrafted. He's another one of these guys like Mendoza, though. He's way too far down in the sleeper board. This is like a great lesson if you're newer or if you just haven't thought about this yet. Like, whatever app you're on, and you probably have thought about this, but I'm not talking to you, Nate. I know you know everything, but for the people back home, whatever app you're on, wherever you're drafting, like those rankings that they have listed, they could be from February, they could be from March, and you might be drafting in June. And you've gotta go down the list and maybe have your own set of rankings so that like maybe your 6th overall player might be 35th on this rookie list that's on your thing. And you're going to maybe be going through your draft in the heat of the draft. You don't realize that this guy's still on the board. You could have him and you take the wrong player. Like, you just don't want to have one of those situations. I think Reggie Virgil in this draft could have gone like mid or late 2nd round. And he's very just completely not here. So I think you got to look out for that stuff. And Sleeper is kind of, we love Sleeper because they get this stuff to us probably the fastest, like we're one of the faster. Like we can do a rookie mock draft in February. That's awesome. But you got to just make sure that you are going by your own rankings. I set up my queue before the draft started because I don't want to miss out on these players, basically.
Well, and we're going to have a whole set of rookie rankings here over the next couple of weeks. I know Cam's got his ready for publish. I'm going to have mine coming. You're going to have yours coming. I know Lou's going to have some coming as well. We're going to have a whole set of these rookie rankings for you guys, kind of showing you how we feel about these players. We're doing a lot of scouting, a lot of film watching, a lot of like trying to figure out where's this guy going to fit into these situations? What teams are a possibility? We're going to be doing some early full NFL mock drafts, doing the first couple of rounds here coming up, and to get a better feel for where we think some of these players are going to land so we can start to grade them accordingly, which I think is going to be really important for these rookie drafts, especially in a class where, like we've talked about, we're going to see less skilled players getting drafted in day 1 and day 2. A lot of these guys are going to go day 3, which is going to throw our rankings into complete array because we're going to have an idea of X, Y, and Z and trying to avoid the trap. And especially if you're in these early rookie drafts, there are some leagues that are psychos that like to do these before the draft. We don't know landing spots, but they force the managers to learn it. And that's fine if that's your thing. But we're going to overvalue guys. It's like Malik Willis a couple of years ago. There was so much hype for him leading up to the draft to the point where there were people that were saying he should go 1st overall. Obviously, he did not. He slipped to the 3rd round, eventually ended up in Green Bay. Now he's looking at possibly getting a starting spot. But if you drafted him early thinking that he was going to be like a top 5 pick in the NFL draft or even a 1st or 2nd round pick, you likely got hosed. And hopefully you were able to avoid getting super hosed and you could just taxi him for a few years. Most leagues allow 2 years of taxi, but that's something to be aware of as we're going through these drafts, and really pay attention to the values that you're seeing in these mock drafts. See where players are going. We're mocking with real people. Like there's like 2 analysts here. We're the nerds, and it doesn't really matter because we're all on the same page, on the same level with this stuff right now. So really pay attention to what's happening in these mocks. It's going to give you a good idea of value, where we're valuing them, where the community is valuing them, because ultimately that's what matters the most, is where does your league value these players? That will tell you where you can get them in drafts.
Absolutely, yeah. And then also, you can always consider, like we've talked about already, this is like a weaker quarterback class. It might be like overall a weaker class too. I would say it is than like last year. Maybe not compared to the average. I don't know what the average class looks like necessarily. But if that's how you're feeling, if your team's looking pretty good, like just remember, you can trade these picks. You can get, you can trade back and get a next year pick. You can get a player. So you don't feel like you're pigeonholed into taking Zachariah Branch or one of these guys. If you're like, my team doesn't really need him, he's the best available player, like go talk to your league mates, try to get a trade, try to get something done. This is still an opportunity to make your team better, whether or not you want these rookies on your team.
Well, I'm going to be honest, there's a good chance if I don't have a top 5 to 6 rookie pick and I can't trade into a top 5 to 6 pick in most of my dynasty leagues, I'm probably going to move out of the 1st round. I don't know that there's enough high-end value, and what I can get back for that pick is going to be worth far more than getting a guy like, I don't know, Jonah Coleman, who might pan out. If Mike Washington's falling late, I think we're going to see him in the 2nd round of a lot of drafts, and I'll gladly move back to the 2nd round to get a guy like him. And interestingly enough, I just wanted to bring this one up here, Jalen Lane. We've had a lot of talk about Jalen Lane. He's talented. I'm sorry, Jacoby Lane. Out of USC, big, lanky, spent the whole week in Mobile. He's a downfield threat. He's going in the 3rd round. So are people seeing what we're seeing, where there's been some hype around this kid, but he's likely kind of like a trick play tool, couple deep targets a game, Xavier Worthy type more so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like now when you're talking like I'm in a league where you get return points. Now, if you've got that kind of thing
That's
going,
different.
like if this guy can find his way into a kick return situation and you're getting points for that, then now we're talking. But yeah, for these deep play threat guys, you don't often see them like translating to fantasy goodness. Best ball though is another place where like best ball, like yeah, go grab him because he might get you that 20 points on one play kind of a thing. But yeah, I think when you're looking at a player like that, you maybe want to just, but you're also in the third round. So it's not like when you're taking a third round rookie mock draft or rookie draft pick, I think you're just kind of, you're swinging for some upside. So maybe he does have that upside where you can catch a couple deep balls a few times a year. And, when you've got him in your flex mid-season, we've got a bunch of injuries and bye weeks, he could come through for you. You never know.
Yeah. He reminds me of Jameson Williams, kind of. I mean, he's bigger than Jameson Williams. He's got a much bigger frame, but that style of player where he has to get deep. He's not a short route guy. He's not a bubble screen guy. He doesn't have that yak ability with contact because he's so skinny. He's just such a wiry frame. He's not built to take those kinds of hits. So you've got to get him out in space. Those kind of players are going to be limited for me, and I have a hard time drafting them. I stayed off Xavier Worthy completely, and I'm glad I did because he was sinking into the first round of rookie drafts, and I just felt like that was a bit too much for me. Is there anybody you're surprised to see other than Reggie Virgil who is not on this draft board?
Surprised, definitely not. I think there's some other like I would prefer Kevin Coleman to probably most of this third round. I like Kevin Coleman out of Pitt. He is out of Pitt, right? Yeah,
no, I mean he's out of Mizzou.
Oh, okay. Why do I have that wrong? I like Kevin Coleman. He's got like a lot of nice like just agility, and he can kind of disappear on you. He did great at the Senior Bowl. He was getting open left and right on those drills when I was watching. So yeah, I think I'm a big fan of Kevin Coleman. In terms of like your late round flyer guys, I would have also liked Josh Cameron there as well, just for some fun. And then I think I still probably wouldn't take this guy in the third round, but I think that you're going to see, I'm going to be this guy, Nate. You're going to see Jam Miller is going to get overvalued by NFL teams because he went to Alabama and he could get the ball for that reason solely. So like if I'm in a fourth round and I need running backs and I'm just taking swings, like I might do it, or I might just grab him in free agents afterwards. Just not a player take, just an NFL take there.
I'll give you a player take on Jam Miller. I think he's a one-dimensional runner. I think he is being overvalued because of the Bama pedigree. People love Bama. Are they forgetting that it's not Nick Saban anymore? It's a different program. Kalen DeBoer is a different coach. He runs things differently. We saw that this season. Alabama struggled in that system. They'll get there. But Jam Miller, I just don't see it. He's not an exceptional blocker. He's not a good route runner. He's good between the tackles. He's a power runner. I do think he'll get overvalued. I think he's going to climb way higher than he should in most drafts because of that Alabama pedigree. Another guy I'm seeing climb up boards, he did not go in this draft, but Ted Hurst out of Georgia State. He's got a lot of work to do to be NFL ready. He's a major project. There are guys who aren't even in the sleeper system, I think, are better prospects, like Tyron Montgomery out of John Carroll, the D3 kid who's caught a lot of hype. I would rather have Tyron Montgomery as an NFL GM than take a shot on a guy like Ted Hurst, whose game just isn't polished. Tyron Montgomery, not super polished, but he's got those basketball chops and that basketball footwork, and I love to see that kind of stuff. So
it's a little bit different to be not polished when it's your first year playing football too. Like if you've been playing for 10 years and you're not polished, like what's going on there? But yeah, right. Tyron Montgomery just started playing like a year ago. Also, what do you do if you're a commissioner and somebody wants Tyron Montgomery?
There's nothing you can do if he's not in the system. But he'll be in the system by draft's time. By the NFL draft, he'll be in the system. I would imagine. I
guess, like, if there's one thing you can do, like, just if anybody's drafting this week and somebody wants Tyron Montgomery, I guess you could find, like, the worst player in the draft pool and, like, have him draft that player as, like, a placeholder. And then once he's in the system, you can swap it out. So, and we got Lou in the chat here telling us you can always have like bylaws to accommodate something like that.
Yep. And that's a fair point. Absolutely. He'll end up in the sleeper system. All these guys end up in the system eventually. It's going to happen. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for us. I want to thank everyone who tuned in. We'll be back next Monday with a Dynasty startup draft. We'll be post combine. We don't want to get into all of the overvalued rookie stuff. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit here, but we're going to hit up a Dynasty startup next week. It's Dynasty startup season. This is when people are finding leagues. This is when people are starting leagues. People are bored. They miss football. They want something to make them feel alive. So if that's your jam, tune in next week, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. I want to remind everyone, please check out our Discord server. We are there talking football 24/7, 365. And while you're at it, head on over to Blue Sky. Check out our news account at news.optimusfantasy.com. We are the fastest news account on Blue Sky. And with the NFL draft, the combine, we've got the new league year starting. We're going to have legal tampering and free agency coming up in a week. Those are things that you want to pay attention to. It's a lot to wrap your head around, but we've got you covered there so you don't have to pay as much attention. That's what we're here for, guys. We're the nerds. We love this stuff. It makes us happy. All right, Mike, thanks so much for tuning in, man. Make sure you like and subscribe, guys. We will be back next week. For Mike Vadala, I'm Nate Polvogt. Adios, folks.